Oh, what is going on, party people in the house? You guys are already early. Like, look at that. And by the way, you guys have beat Rodolfo into this thing. That poor young man. Like, you guys are taking away. He had Rodolfo. Wait, maybe he has so much or so little, but so much. And now it's gone. But it doesn't matter. You guys are here. I'm here. You guys already know what time it is. It's a Wednesday night. Wednesday night, it's on and popping. If it's a Wednesday night, you know what time it is. It is Drunk Unk Night. I hope you got a drink in your cup. I hope you got something ready because, man, we are going to have, I think, one of the more fun shows that we've done in the month of January. And that being said, we've only done this will only be like number 3. Well, what is going, everyone? I am your main man, Admiral Richardson, your host, your drunk unk. What's up, Richard? It's good to see you in the chat, man. I'm glad you are up doing your damn thing. We need to get together. I got to order some product from you pretty soon. But yes, it is drunk unk time, and let me just get something done real quick. Let me pay the bills because we're gonna have a fun show. I really guarantee there's gonna be a fun show later. But I really want you guys to, I'm gonna outline it in a second. Let me get my intro done. Then I want to outline it because I want you guys to be thinking, because by the time Tom G and El Presidente come in a little bit later, I'm expecting fireworks. Like, I'm expecting pure fire. I'm not trying to overcook these grits, but I'm expecting fireworks tonight because I'm excited. Rodolfo, you went out, man. I don't know what happened with you, man. You got caught slipping today, but you know it's not slipping. My main man, El Presidente, Eric Torres, Mr. Eric Sells Homes, DFW. It's real simple. If you're looking for a home in the DFW area, I got you. I got my man. It's El Presidente. It's Eric. He's the dude that will be able to hook it up for you. Whether you're looking to buy a home, whether you're looking to sell a home, now is the perfect time. Like, I heard someone say it best recently. They talked about the interest rates, right? And they're like, well, the interest rates aren't, back a year or so ago, and they're like 3%. Well, it's still better than 100% paying towards rent. So if you're still looking for a first-time home buyer, and El Presidente will tell you, they've got people who are looking they're looking to sell their home, so they're paying closing costs. They're doing all kinds of things right now. Now's the time to start really getting in there. When I brought my house, it wasn't from El Presidente, but I bought it, in a non-prime buying time where I wouldn't have to be competing against everybody. So I'm just telling you, just think about it. If you're in the DFW area, and look, if you're outside the DFW area, he'll hook you up because he's my guy, right? So just think about it. That's all I was going to say. Eric Sells Homes, DFW. Man, if I live in Austin, I don't know if I live in Dallas or Houston. I'd have to figure that one out. I don't know which one's crazier. Both were wild. I'm not going to lie. Both were wild, but I enjoy both cities. Eric Sells Homes, DFW. There's a couple of things that we're going to do. Like I said, today's going to be a wild show. It's going to be a fun show. I'm super, super excited about the topic because we're going to talk, a little bit of Chris Jackson, and that impact and all that entails. And we've talked about it before, but now that it's official and I've really had a chance to really dive into my thoughts on the whole Chris Jackson thing, I have a lot that I want to share, a lot that I want to give you guys. So I'm really, really looking forward to that topic there. Really looking to when we're going to rank the assistant coaches. And listen, if you're going to stay for the long haul, if you're going to be here for the long haul, and you're saying, Unc, I'm with you. It's a Wednesday night. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to click on to somebody else. Like, I'm not going to do anything else. Unc, I am with you. Then I want you to start thinking about the topic that we're going to get in later. Get yourself a pen and a pad out there. Go find the 10 assistants that are here at the University of Texas. And we're going to do a countdown 10 through 1. Now that Chris Jackson's on the staff, and we're going to rank them. We're going to rank who are the top guys. And I'm telling you, it's going to be tough to do this. It's really, really, really going to be tough to do this. It's going to be tough. So, but I'm going to be super curious as to how you guys are able to pull it off. It's getting wild already. Super chats are starting to come in. So I'm going to knock out these 2 super chats that I see on my screen before I even get into some other fun stuff. My man, Triplet Joseph 44. I would love to know where'd you got that handle from? I just so many questions. But he says, I feel like this year's linebacker group is like last year's wide receiver group. One injury to Ford away from being left with a huge weakness. We need a veteran linebacker. Well, that's a statement. I'll let you say that. And you know what? You got a good point. I'm the triplet, or Joseph. I guess it's Joseph, right? I think it's a very good point. The thing that I think was disappointing about last season that I feel like should never happen at the University of Texas is one injury shouldn't be the thing that derails the whole kind of the group, right? The Isaiah Nair injury was a thing that basically derailed like Texas, the receivers group, right? It was like Isaiah Nair is not here. Now what the heck do we do? What the heck do we don't have any more weapons? And it's like you should have more than that. The same way to Georgia when they lost AD, right? AD Mitchell goes down and they go, oh, we'll just throw in someone else and then we'll still compete. And when he comes back, that's great, but we're still just going to win all the games in the meantime. That's the thing that you shouldn't want to happen. That's the thing that should be happening in Texas that didn't happen last season. So to your point, the linebacker group, you definitely want some more depth in there. They've got some young guys that are there. Look, I mean, what Anthony Hill will bring will probably be, a lot to the table. But the linebacker position, but I will say this, Joseph, the tough part about the linebacker position is that there just aren't a lot of great linebackers out nowadays. There just aren't. Like there aren't a lot of guys who are growing up saying, I want to play linebacker. It's probably one of the tougher positions to recruit. It's probably one of the more tougher positions to attain. So that's the only thing. Like I 100% agree with you. You need more. Probably going to have to wait until spring to see who goes in the portal and then go after those guys. The other super chat, Blake, that came up there. Will you ever use the opening music that you had with the Yak? Didn't get permission. Just curious. That's a fantastic question that I've been thinking about because I did get permission. So here's the thing, though. So to answer that question, Overweight Lover, I love that music. I did get permission. It was amazing. The challenge that we have with YouTube is that the artist gave me permission, but once you go on YouTube, then all of a sudden it becomes like a copyright thing. And then Blake and I would probably like every week have to like fight to say, okay, no, we've received permission. Let's show it, all those kind of things. And so I'm just not quite sure I want us to go through those battles every single week. Like there was no battles with the Yak. That would have been, some lawyer coming in. But literally, it's like this, Overweight Lover. A lot of times, I go to games and I'll take my cell phone out and I'll try to do some pregame stuff, right? So I like to, give you guys like the behind the scenes stuff. So I'll take my cell phone. I guess it's an i4, like 14s are out. I think I have a 9. So how many years behind am I, right? You guys could be getting much better videos. So maybe it's time for me to upgrade at this point. And maybe Catch could buy me a phone. I don't know. It's kind of work related at that. I'll kind of pitch that at him at some point and get my no. But the problem is, and Blake can attest to this, if I do, like, especially if I go live, I've gone live, and a lot of times they'll be playing music in the stadium, like as everyone's warming up. So they'll be playing different kinds of music. By the time I go back up to the press box, there's already been a copyright claim on the video that I posted. I mean, it literally only takes minutes. I don't know who figures this out. I don't know how they find it, but literally it'll be, if it's 20 songs that are played, I'd probably have 5 copyright strikes within the next 5 minutes. So I just don't know if I want to do that battle at this moment. So with that, but I'm with you. Would love something a little bit more exciting. Love something more entertaining to kind of have within the open. It's just a matter of how we're going to figure that thing out and how we're going to go from there. Hey, can I go do something real quick for you guys before I get too far down the line? I love my boys. And I'm a proud dad. I'm a single dad. Like I said, you don't see that too often, but I am a single dad. And I love my boys. And can I just brag on my youngest? You guys always brag on my oldest, Max, and what he does. And he's the gamer, but he's also a basketball player, 4th grader on 5th grade, AAU team, fantastic on defense. I've posted his highlights here before. Blake, can you drop in the chat my little man from on Monday? I just want you guys to get a chance to see this 4-year-old. In my LeVar Ball voice, He's gonna be a killer. I am telling you, my 4-year-old is from this game on Monday. Show it some love. If listen, don't go away from the video. Like if it's gonna take you away, then come on back. But just like it and then or comment on it real quick. Show him some love. I'll read it to him in the morning. He's a single dad, so all the love and support that I can give from you guys as a community, would love to show that to him and have him have all that love and support and read the comments and be super excited. But we played it in Y. He dropped 8. I mean, I literally he could have done way more, but I coach, I substitute. Like, there's nothing to prove. We're 4 years old, like we're in pre-K and kindergarten. Like, there's no need to be a killer, but he's fantastic dribbler, good shooter. Just really proud of him, man. I just wanted to have a proud dad moment. Had someone to share that with. I'm sharing it with my family. Unc wants to share what his son is doing, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So when you guys see that link in the chat, please go ahead and let's go ahead and see it, comment on it, like it. I'm going to tell him in the morning, and he will be absolutely tickled pink. Last thing on him, Titan, he after the second point that he scored, the second time he scored, he literally yells out, "This is my house!" I was like, oh snap, this boy is different. Some kids are just born different. Anyway, proud dad moment. Unc had to share it with you guys. We'll move on, but thank you, man. Like I said, love my boys, man. Love it. Last thing I want to say on that, it's like whenever Unc is gone, whenever Unc is long gone, right? I don't want anybody to say, man, Anwar was really a great worker. He did fantastic on OB. Like, he really broke some stories. It was the NFL or Hall of Fame. Like, I don't want that to be the first thing anyone says. I just want everyone to say he was a good father. If you guys say that, and that's the first words that you utter out your mouth, then I know I would have definitely done a good job, because that's what matters most to me. All right. So that being said, quick news. Texas announces the spring game, which it kind of got announced a little bit by Chris D'Oconti. It was on Twitter. And hold on, I'll go ahead and Biggins. Before I didn't get too far into my thoughts, so go ahead and put the super chat, Blake, from Biggins in Minnesota. I'm coming in late. That's my bad. I'm assuming. I'm a single dad. I had to take care of the little girl stuff. But is anyone else excited as blank about this wide receiver room? Like, okay. We should be excited about the wide receiver room, Biggins. Yeah, you've got AD Mitchell, you've got Xavier Worthy, you've got Jordan Whittington that's coming back, but then you've also got Jonte Cook that's there. You got Brennan Thompson, and you're going to be able to see what he does. You got Savion Red. Like, you've got guys, you've got dudes that you should look to and point to and say, okay, this is a good thing. I'd like to see at least one more guy. And of course, you got Ryan Niblett, right, who's coming in as well. So, you've got some guys there, but you got some young guys. Like, you don't really have Jordan Whittington is probably like the only older guy, but you have a lot of young weapons that are there. So yes, Biggins, like, you should be very excited. And as a person who is the president of the Quinn Ewers fan club, who refuses to come off that table, I will pound the table for Quinn Ewers. I'm not giving up on him. I'm not going Kieran now. I'm not going Young Buck and saying 12-0, right? That Kieran's a little different on me. But do I think Quinn Ewers is that dude who will grow and develop and live up to all the expectations? Yes, I will die on that hill. If I end up being wrong, so be it. But Biggins, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right about being excited about that wide receiver room. Tons of weapons. And I didn't even get into the tight ends, right? And what they have there, what you have Jatavian Sanders. And then, of course, you'll see what they have at the running back position, whether, it's any of the incumbents that end up playing or Cedric Baxter that gets an opportunity. Yeah. Be very excited about that. It's going to be, I'm staying with Clint. I will stay with Quinn. I will not be deterred. I won't let the 4-game stretch not just knock me off my rocker. Alabama still happened. Oklahoma still happened. So, and then, yes, he became a young quarterback, but so he's a young quarterback. He'll rebound. I think he'll do much better this season. I'm not giving up on Quinn Ewers. Be very excited about the room. And speaking of, I'll segue in. April 15th. It's going to be the orange-white game. How many of you guys are coming to Austin? Orange White game. There seems like there's going to be a bunch of different activities that weekend because they call it a Made in Austin weekend. And you're right, Clinton, he is a freshman, but you couldn't tell people that at all. But 1 o'clock will be that game. We've got to figure out. We've got to do a get together that weekend in Austin. So if it is the 15th, we got to figure out maybe about doing a get together on the 14th, Tom. Like I want to figure it out. I'm going to do, if you guys are down, I will figure out how to plan something for the 14th. I don't know what to do, don't know how to do it, but we'll definitely, I'll work on it. I'll work on it. Maybe I'll secure us a venue somewhere. And as long as you guys show up, and don't embarrass me and have me out here looking all dumb. Like, hey, I could have sworn I would have had a lot of people show up and none of you guys show up. As long as you guys don't do that to me, I promise you, I'll work on it and see what I can get done. Have us like a little private Longhorn party for the spring game. I think that would be pretty badass, right? So if you're down, Blake and I, you know what? Blake and I, that will be our project. All right, Blake, does that sound cool? Blake, come on in. Are you here? Blake must have taken a dump.
I was typing. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, as long as you're still here, I didn't know.
Even if it's just El Presidente, Tom G, and two of us, we'll still have a good time. But everybody else join.
All right, I'm gonna find. Hey, listen, if you got a sports bar or know a guy who owns a sports bar in the downtown area, near downtown Austin, if you guys know someone who's got a venue, hit me up. Email me at anwar@orangebloods.com, ANWAR@orangebloods.com. Let me know, like, hey, we'll get you guys in on the 14th, whether it's a happy hour or something like that. I'm in. I've taught myself into it, Blake. I'm taught myself into. Is it a happy hour? Or is it like a nighttime event?
That's a good question. We'll have to run a poll or something. We need to do some research first and see where the best venues are, and then go from there.
Okay, we'll research the venues. You guys get in the chat. Blake will pay attention. Let me know if you guys want to do a happy hour, or you want to do like a 7 o'clock kind of get together kind of thing, a little bit of an early kind of thing. And by the way, Nate, you asked a good question. You said, well, how do I find the War Room on OB? I'm fairly new to this. First of all, welcome, Nate. So Nate, when you go, everything inside of Orange Bloods, essentially, at first, the War Room runs every Thursday, right? And you got to be inside of 40 acres. It usually stays up from about Thursday evening when it posts to somewhere around like Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. Once you get past that and you don't see it, the easiest way is when you go to the Orange Bloods tab, look up, and you'll see a tab that says football. If you then scroll down, and you'll see Inside Scoop, you'll see football forums, recruiting archives, other forums, you'll see Inside the War Room. Click on that. You'll be able to see all of the war rooms from the past. It's the easiest way to do that. For those of you who don't know what the War Room is, it's our weekly insider edition where we just give inside news and notes of things that are going behind the program. It's kind of a reward for the people who subscribe, for people who are want to be super fans and know more than just what's out there on social media and what's here. So that's how you find it, Nate. Hopefully you guys will be able to, you'll be able to do it, and hope you enjoy it. And by the way, just so you know, just so you know, if you're thinking about signing up for Orange Bloods, I don't think Rivals loves it when I do this, but I do it anyway all the time just to try to hook you guys up. Wait until about the springtime. Like, I want you to sign up, but there'll always be like a deal in the spring. So there'll be some spring sign up in like another month or so. You'll get a lot of hookups. So Uncle's trying to hook you up. So I'm just telling you now, if you don't take the information, not do anything with it, right? But there'll be tons of giveaways, get mums free, like all kinds of stuff. So there'll be promos that are coming up. So like, if you want to go, do it now. But I'm just telling you, like, if you say, I really want to do this, but I want to save a little bit of money or get some free stuff, I just told you, like, hey, I just let you know, like, Just wait a little bit. Just don't tell rivals I said this because I don't think they appreciate when I do this. And okay, Richard, you fly in, free gummies all day. It's officially a party because we're going to have El Presidente. Richard's going to be there. Oh, I'm going to have Adam Lowy out there. We're going to have some of the sponsors there. It's popping. I already know what I'm going to do. I already know exactly what I'm going to do on April the 14th. Yes, we'll have Adam out there. Richard's going to come in. We'll have El Presidente, Tom G. We got to get a mic that's there. I'll get some folks that'll be some guest appearance folks. I'll see if Rod Babers will show up or something to that effect. Like I'll get some people out there to make it a good thing. We are going to do that. Dancers, that's on your own. I ain't messing around with that in 2023, man. That kind of environment is getting a lot of. You see all these athletes getting in trouble with making these bad decisions with these women, like. And I'm not saying these women deserve anything. I'm just saying they're making some bad choices. I'm not going to be responsible for that. I am not being responsible for that. And look, I don't need a drunk uncle party that ends up with someone arrested. Like no, you guys ain't shutting me down. You bring your own women, bring your own girlfriends. If not, we'll invite some women. But Vicky Brown, yeah, it's on and popping. I was actually going to do this. Oh, you think about my Vegas thing? Oh yeah, that was fun. That was kind of fun. Blake, do you still have that picture from the other week? Do you still have that somewhere there? Because Michael's referring to the Vegas picture that I had Blake post. If Blake can find it within like the next 10 seconds or so, we could put it up there for fun. And if not, then Blake doesn't have it, so we don't have to worry about it. Next time we'll do it the next time. So spring game is going to be April 15th. We're definitely going to take care of that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And April 14th, right now, it's a preliminary drunk unk party that we're going to do. It's going to be a drunk unk party. I don't think we're going to. This is going to be a drunk unk, not OB. Just be drunk unk, and that's what we're going to do. It's going to be fun. Let's start getting into the topic though. I want to get into the topic at hand. I want to talk some sports with you guys. I'm super excited. But I want to talk about this whole new hire that's out there. And Mike, I don't got the VY strings the sack can pull all that, but we'll see. I'll pull something. I'll pull something together. It won't be a problem. I'm gonna work. Blake and I are gonna work on securing that very soon. And I already got some ideas. But by the way, if you got someone, let me know. Texas finally hired Jacksonville receivers coach Chris Jackson to come on staff. We finally got the official press release yesterday. Look, this is something we have been talking about, something I've been reporting on for a while, a good period of time. So we've been able to let you know this was in the pipeline, this was in the works, and it finally happened. Texas hires their guy, they have their man, right? I want to, before we get a little bit into that, well let me finish the Chris Jackson story first. Because let me read you a quote from Sarkisian after the announcement came through. This is what Sarkisian said. He goes, "We're fired up that Chris Jackson is a Longhorn. He's such a talented coach with a ton of football and life experience that we'll benefit from having on our staff. Chris is passionate and attention to detail kind of guy who took a unique path to coaching, but is as good as they come when it comes to developing and preparing receivers. He's a very well-respected coach with a great work ethic, who's also a student of the game and is a proven leader who not only helps his players improve on the field, but also builds strong relationships with them." And it goes on to kind of praise Chris Jackson and him and everything that he's been able to accomplish in kind of a short coaching career. And then and then of course the press release obviously gets into Chris Jackson and his excitement for being here. So let's backtrack a little bit on how we kind of get to Chris Jackson. And then we'll talk about Chris Jackson, and then we're going to bring in El Presidente and Tom G in a few minutes. And we're going to really kind of get into some fun stuff here. So I previously kind of reported who were some of the guys who were in contention for this job, because this whole thing becomes really interesting. And then Chris Jackson, I have to set this up, and I got to take us back to take us to where we are, so everyone we kind of understand, right? Steve Sarkisian originally went about this coaching search in the traditional sense, right? That's the way Steve Sarkisian was approaching this, right? He decided that, he's decided to go to the traditional things. He started talking to different guys. So he did a lot of inquiries, right? So that's the thing that Steve Sarkisian did a lot. He did a lot of inquiries to guys. And I think the things I had reported was that Sarkisian was always trying to do his due diligence as relates to who he's going to hire for this position. So let's get into the guys that he previously had spoken to or had some conversations with, right? So he had a conversation with Baylor receivers coach Dallas Baker, just kind of gauging the interest that was there. He did talk to TCU receivers coach Malcolm Kelly, right? He did talk to UTSA receivers coach Joe Price. That's another person that he had spoken to. Now, here's where it gets a little bit interesting in his coaching search, right? He also, Joe Fulani flew in, and Joe Fulani interviewed in person, obviously, with Steve Sarkisian. And I think some people really thought and believed at that point that was going to be the guy, that Joe Fulani was going to be the guy. I'm trying to get rid of something on my screen. I'm having people message me at the same time. People thought Fulani was going to be the guy. And then, but it became, and then the other guy who was the big name guy, and Blake says my audio is getting a little bit choppy, so let's see if this hopefully gets a little bit better. And the big name person obviously was going to be Rashad Samples. Okay, wait. All right, hold on. All right, is it better now? Yes. Okay, so apparently I had the phone next to me, and that's what did it. Okay, so I apologize, guys. That was all me. Sorry, it's all me. I'll take a swig for you guys. So anyway, so that doesn't come about. And the one guy that they talked to obviously was Rashad Samples. And so this is I'll give you guys a little bit of more of a behind the scenes story as relates to that, just a little bit things, because Sarkisian did have a conversation with Samples, and Sarkisian was very interested in Samples. Samples was actually one of, if not the first person that Sarkisian had reached out to. But here became the hiccup as relates to Rashad Samples coming to Texas, which was Rashad had just gotten the job at Arizona State not too long ago. Like, what's it only been? Like a few weeks ago, like early December. And Rashad said, kind of communicated to Texas, like, okay, cool. You want me? That's great. But guess what? You've got to give me a salary that makes it to the point where I can go back to Arizona State and tell them they gave me an offer that I could not refuse. So you've got to pay me, right? You just got to pay me, because it's in the cap rates. If you're Rashad, you're like, I already got a job. So what can you do, at that point, right? And however you want to feel about Sarkisian, if you feel like it was a G move or he was like cool or whatever it is, Sarkisian was like, okay, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to move on. And then, so that what becomes interesting, as he starts talking to other people of Fulani's of the world and everyone else, he shifts and moves to NFL. Is my audio messing up again? Jason, because
no, you're good. You're good now. It was the phone earlier. You're good now.
Oh, okay. My bad. Jason said audio problems, Jen, and so I thought maybe it was messing up. Damn it, Jason, throw me off. I'm just messing with you, man. And so then he makes the move, and this is what became what one of my sources communicated to me. I'm giving you some little bit behind the scenes stuff, obviously with the samples thing. And then when I started talking about the Chris Jackson thing, we've had this thing in our mind for years, and we as people who watch college football and are college football fans, we've had a thing in our mind for years that you need an ace recruiter. You need your Tim Brewster on your staff. You need to have that person who just checks all the boxes and is the ace recruiter. And what Steve Sarkisian has decided was like, I don't need an ace recruiter. And then more importantly, the people who cut checks in the NIL world have decided we don't need an ace recruiter, and we don't need to be spending $1 million or so a year on an ace recruiter. You know who our ace recruiter is going to be going forward in this 2022, 2023 newfound era? It's going to be NIL. That is going to be the ace recruiter. And so then the thought process became development. I need someone who can develop. We'll get kids. It's Texas. We've got the money. That's not going to be a problem. We're going to get kids, but we need to develop them. And that's where the Chris Jackson thing comes in, because it'll be interesting if this kind of sets the precedent going forward, where other programs say, you know what, we'll get talent, but we got to be able to develop this talent that we have. And people will be attracted by the NIL stuff. But we got to be able to. That's the interesting thing about Chris Jackson is going to be, because that will be ultimately what he's going to be judged on. Now, he's going to be judged on recruiting, because at the end of the day, he's still going to have to go against good recruiters, like at the end of the day. So you're still going to have to win that and win the battles. And the thing about NIL that gets a little bit tricky is that there will be, your high 4 stars and your 5 stars. That's automatic. But for your 3 stars, you're going to have to be able to develop them. So now that Chris Jackson is in the fold, and now that he's here, the thing that I asked my guys, Tom G, obviously my man El Presidente, my brother from another, the question I posted them earlier, and I wanted them to do some stuff. I said, I want you guys to figure out how you would rank this current assistant coaching staff, which I believe is really, really hard to do, because most of these guys are good, because you got to figure out, okay, if I'm doing a countdown from 10 all the way down to 1, you got to tell me who's 10. And the guy who's 10 probably is going to be like, who? You guys put me at 10? You know how good I am? It is a tough situation to figure out. It's kind of like when, in the NBA, when they start figuring out who's going to be on all-star teams. And then there's like the last guy picked still averages like 20 points a game at his city. And he's still like, I'm still like the last guy picked. Like, this is some BS. So without further ado, to make this thing a lot of fun, let's bring in Tom G. Let's bring in El Presidente. Let's bring in my super guys, my super fans. This is my family right here. How, El Presidente, how are you doing? Tom G, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick y'all's asses. So hope y'all did y'all's homework, because I am ready to rock and roll.
Hey, I told you. I only bring my A game. So let's go. Show me what you got.
Yes. All right. So listen. This is what I want us to do. This is how let's do it. El Presidente, we can do a couple of things. You can give us your entire list. But we're going to talk about it before we get into Tom, or we could just break it down one by one as you give it to us. But I still want you to give us the explanation. What, do you like that one, Tom? Is that what you like?
I like? Let's all hit 10, and then we all hit 9, and then we all build up to 1.
Yep. I'm
good with that. All right. So, and then you guys in the chat, as they give it out their stuff, you guys comment. And because I want you guys to think in the chat, I want you guys to think about who is your we're going to go 10 to 1. So we're going to count down, all right? We're going to do a countdown. And then we're going to go 10 to 1. but I also want you guys to be thinking who your guys are, and I want us to just be as interactive as possible. And then at the end of the chat, Blake, we are going at the end of that, we're going to put up a poll, and we're going to see who the fans feel like had the best ranking. It will be either El Presidente or Tom G. So Blake, go ahead and get that one ready to go when that's be later, but we'll definitely be able to vote on that. Just so you know, so we're clear, we're not going to do anything. So someone already asked about Torrey Becton. I to make it more simplistic, we're going to rank, the assistant coaches. Now, if you want to do Becton, I would just say let's do a pass or fail grade as far as Becton is concerned, but we don't necessarily have to get into him at this point. All right. So we're going to start with 10. 10 is obviously, 10 is the
worst,
the quote unquote worst. And then going down to number 1. So El Presidente, I will start with you from this staff. Who is number 10?
I'm about to have a drop the mic moment right now because y'all are gonna die when I put him as number 10. But for me, as my number 10 is Jeff Banks.
Oh
yes. And let me give you why Jeff Banks is number 10. He's making $1 million a year. I want you to go look at his 2023 recruiting cycle. He recruited the 983rd person in college football, which is Will Randall. Now, I know we can take that a couple ways with Will Randall, and he was kind of a package deal for Arch Manning. But, the number one game in for colleges is, you've got to bring your guys in for the future. And for the future is what we're talking about. He goes out and lands the 45th tight end in the nation and the number 36 tight end in the nation. Falls asleep at the wheel when there was a kid at North Crowley named Cameron Pimpington that was committed to Vanderbilt all this time, and at the last second, we bring him in, and then he turns on us and he commits to LSU. So for me, number 10 is Jeff Banks.
Okay.
I'm tweeting this out right now. That's why I'm on my phone. I'm like, people, y'all you got to get in this thing right now.
All right. So Eric, I can tell is going to make this really easy on me to win tonight.
Okay.
So
go, Tom. Tom? Who do at number 10? Tom G has who?
I've got A.G. Midway, our quarterbacks coach. Let me tell you why. Right. Clearly, I know Sark brought him over because Sark needed someone that he trusted that could develop quarterbacks in the vision that Sark wanted. So let's talk about player development first. Who has he developed at an above average level on the 2 years that he's been here at the University of Texas? I can't think of one. Let's talk about what he did. He was handed Quinn Ewers this year, 5-star quarterback. Consensus number 1 overall pick. Not pick, but recruit. Didn't see a lot of development through the year. Actually, I would argue that I think he regressed during the year. Now, let's talk about the second thing that, a position coach is supposed to be known for. Recruiting. A.J. Midway, not a strong recruiter. Let's be real. A.J. Midway ain't what got Arch Manning to Texas. Okay? It was Sark. So at number 10, I've got A.J. Midway.
Woo, boy, 5-year works already. All right. So El Presidente, by the way, what are your thoughts, El Presidente, to him to say Midway at 10? Does that make you reconsider what you had? Because your look, I can't figure out what it is.
No, he and I are on the opposite ends. He's on the South Pole, and I'm on the North Pole, baby. Yes.
All right,
Yes.
El Presidente. So go ahead and give me your number 9 then. Go ahead and give me 9.
It would be number 9, another $1 million rainmaker on our staff. That would be get the fuck off my bus, Bo Davis at number 9.
Okay. All right. To give us the explanation as to why you got Bo Davis at number 9.
For me, Bo Davis, I haven't really seen the domination down with the interior defensive tackles that we have had in the past. And, the drop off that we've had with Collins and Broughton, those guys got to step up and play next year. And what he has brought in to be the future as well, Sark just extended him. And if I'm correct, LSU coach came in last spring and made a run at him. Les Miles made a run at him, and Stark said, no. Let's take care of your contract. Let's give you a bump in salary. And we moved him up to $1 million a year until February of 2025. So you're telling me for $1 million a year, and without the production that we had down at our defensive tackles, he only got one player in this recruiting cycle, one interior defensive tackle in this whole. What is he doing? And now he is looking anywhere and everywhere to find. He's going the junior college route in Mississippi right now. He is bringing in another Mississippi guy that the only offer he had was Coastal Carolina, and this kid's coming in this weekend. So, and he missed on a recruit out of Garland that, that was his other guy that he missed out. So for me, Bo Davis is number 9, both on the field and especially off the field. He ain't doing it right now.
Okay, Tom G. At number 9,
At number 9.
Number 9 is
none other than former Texas safety Blake Gideon. And so let's talk about why Blake Gideon.
Yes, let's hear it. Let's talk about it.
So first off, as I go through all of these, I'm there. You're going to hear there's a combination of player development is a criteria for me. And obviously recruiting is ability to recruit is a player for me. So let's talk about player development for Blake Gideon. If you go look at the safety play that we've had the last 2 years, it's been, I'll say, mediocre. It's getting average. I say average, mediocre to average. He's not developing the players to be all conference type players. And it's not that he's being handed average talent. If you look at that safety room that he was handed, he had some dudes on there. And then let's talk about his recruiting prowess. Other than Derek Williams this year, I'm not sure Blake Gideon has brought in any significant talent. And I'm not even going to give him credit for Catalan in the portal and stuff, because I don't think he had any real impact there. But I don't see the player development that I'm looking for from Gideon, and I damn sure don't see the recruiting prowess that you would expect from a position coach.
Wow. Okay. You guys, I knew there was going to be some fireworks tonight. I just did not know you guys were going to the illegal store to get your fireworks, man. You've got those old school, remember those old school M80s and stuff like that. The things that you definitely those you guys got the illegal stuff right now. El Presidente, he started off with Jeff Banks at number 10, which I'm still trying to wrap my head around. He went Bo Davis at number 9. So now, by the way, someone DM'd me, by the way, and said if Banks is at number 10, that list is a no-go. So, I won't tell you who sent it to me, but someone DM'd like I'm multitasking right now because I'm putting this out on social media. If you're like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Banks is number 10, Bo Davis is number 9, El Presidente at number 8. You have
Blake Gideon. Now I'm gonna agree with Tom G and a lot of these things. I think kind of the main role of Gary Patterson was to sit right next to Blake Gideon this past season and make sure their safeties are doing exactly what PK wanted them to do. Because as you saw that first year, there was such a discord from the back end to the front end and from the front end to the back end. Now, I differ with Tom G a little bit. I don't think we've had a lot of great talent back there. I think they found lightning in a bottle with Cooks, moving him from corner to he played the nickel, and then from the nickel to the safety. And God bless that kid. He played his heart out, and I could never question him in how hard he played. But I thought there was, Thompson's coming back, and I thought that we were decent on the back end, at least from lining up, because at year one we couldn't line up. And I always thought to myself, who is it? Because, there were rumors out there, the cornerback coach likes playing man, Gideon likes playing quarters and hash, so you could really tell they were aligned this year. And I think Patterson had a little bit to do with it because, quite frankly, he is the top safety coach in the nation. So I'm sure Blake was looking over his shoulder during the defensive segments of the game and things like that. So for me, number 7 is Blake. Tom, I will agree with you. He has only recruited in 2 years one dude. And that dude is the 59th player nationally. And it's a great get inside the state of Louisiana because he's the 3rd-ranked player in Louisiana. Yeah. And he held on to him.
For you, by the way, let's see, because I want to see what your number 8 is, Tom, before I go too far. You put AJ Midway at 10, Blake Gideon at 9. Coming in at number 8 for you is who?
It's our co-defensive coordinator and linebackers coach, Jeff Choate.
Oh. Wow. Which definitely means that laugh absolutely means El Presidente has chosen his top 5. So give
let me talk to you why, right? So first off, we're talking about the co-defensive coordinator part of the job. Uh-huh. Clearly, he has failed freaking miserably. Otherwise, they're not bringing in Patterson. So, an F. Sorry, you failed at that part of the code job. And now let's look at, I will give him credit for being an above average recruiter. And I will say that's only happened this year. But, he's brought in some dudes. When you look at some of the dudes he's responsible for this year alone, I mean, now I know Banks had some help with this too, but, Anthony Hill, Jelani McDonald, Tassili Akana. I mean, Darian Glett. He brought in some dudes, so I'm going to give him some props for what he's done this year. And however, let's talk about developing talent. Other than Ford, he has had some folks, whether it's Gabenda or whoever else, that just looks like they have not made any significant progress on the 2 years they've been under his watch.
Okay. But okay, Tom, what do you say to the people in the chat who keep pointing out this being one of the better linebacker recruiting classes in school history. There's people who are telling you, Tom, Anthony Hill has come here. I mean, like, there are people who are on you. They're on your ass right now, Tom, telling you, don't go look at the rankings.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, this isn't about what you did in 23. This is about what have you done since you've been at Texas.
Well, doesn't 23 count?
A blind squirrel can find a nut once in a while.
Well,
and also, if you go look at Anthony Hill, if you go look at who was primarily responsible for Anthony Hill, you'll see Banks' name on that one. So let's don't go crazy with where we're throwing all the praise for Jeff here.
Whether Banks was on that or not, let's be clear. Anthony Hill is not going to leave Denton, Texas, to go play for a guy and sit in Choke's room if he's not comfortable with that guy.
Absolutely. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
So but, he has to have a little secret sauce to him.
We'll get to the rest of them. It'll make sense.
Okay. All right. Listen. Love it. El Presidente. Yeah, Jeff
now,
Banks,
if this was last year, we were doing this last year, this would have been number 1 last year.
Okay, but we're at number 7 this year.
Number 1 or number 10?
It would have been number 1 last year, but it's number.
Okay, so that means this person has fallen in your rankings.
Just because he had the biggest offensive line haul ever last year, and now he's building for the future with what he got. Kyle Flood would be Kyle Flood is my number 7 right now.
Oh, come on.
Still some problems.
Come on. Okay, go ahead. All right, let's go ahead. Hold on, Tom. Let's let him talk.
Still some problems with our interior running game. Our center is a problem. Our left guard is a problem. Our right guard is a problem. I did think his one, Banks, is the one. I mean, hell, Banks is out there tweeting now. He's a dadgum ambassador for Austin Volkswagen now, So if the one guy he developed was Banks, Jones was number 2. So for me, Kyle Flood is what number are we on? 7?
You're on 7.
And you know what? I think, and I'm not disgracing him at all, you go from the biggest haul in Texas offensive line history at Texas, and he still comes away with the number 47th player in the state, the number 90th offensive lineman in the state, according to Rivals, number 127, Connor Schroff in the state, number 153, Andrew Cajon from Mansfield Timberview. I mean, he got 4 more dudes, plus the guy out of Florida. He got 5 more big boys, big bodies, SEC bodies, but they're going to take some time. But for me right now, as far as on the field and in recruiting, if last year this would be number 1, he is number 7 right now. Like I said, my biggest bitch about the Longhorns this year, we were not able to consistently run the ball up the middle. And for me, that is why he's number 7, and his dropping and not being able to finish off some of these prize recruits, the TJ Shannons and other offensive linemen we were after.
Just know, El Presidente, don't look at the comments you're getting filled. Just don't look there. Don't look to your right. Yeah. It's not pretty there. I'm just going to tell you that. Okay, Tom G.
All right, coming in number 7.
Go ahead.
Is our defensive coordinator, Pete Kwiatkowski. Okay. So Pete came in with a great, and I can't understate that enough, nationally great reputation as a DC, and had a great track record of developing talent. And I can give you some examples. I mean, he's produced first-round picks from his defenses from all 3 levels. So he came in with all the praise that DC can come in with. However, while at Texas, he has had very mixed results. The first year, I would argue, was a total and disaster failure for where Texas ranked nationally. and some of the historical worst that we had under his first year.
Mm-hmm.
And while this year was significant improvement, I still don't know how much of that was him and how much of that was Patterson. I'm not sure if we're ever really going to know. He can be a solid recruiter, although that's not really what he's known for. But he is a very strong evaluator of talent. Like I said, if you look at the amount of first round picks that he's produced on his defenses at all three levels, whether it was like cornerback Kevin King and everyone knows Buda Baker, right? I mean, shit, he's a stud safety in the NFL. That was his guy. People know who Vita Vea is, defensive tackle. That was his guy. Linebacker, Azim Victor. So he's produced at all three levels. But while he has done that pre-Texas, we haven't seen enough of it at Texas. And so for that, he's coming in at number 7 for me.
Okay, so just so we recap here, Tom, you've got AJ Midway at 10, Blake Gideon at 9, you have Jeff Choate at 8, and Pete Kwiatkowski at 7. El Presidente, let's keep this party going. You had Jeff Banks at 10, Bo Davis at 9, Blake Gideon at 8, Kyle Flood, which we're still trying to wrap our heads around, at 7. Who comes in at number 6 for you?
I will follow my main man, Tom G, and PK is my number 6. I thought from year 1 to year 2, the defense made a huge jump where, guys, if y'all don't remember, every week I was giving the drunk uncle show $50, $60, $70 to fire him now. And you know what? By the time in the middle of the year, that defense really started making their strides. They started playing well. They had a huge jump. I mean, you think about it, from where we were last year in the hundreds to end up in the top 50 this year is a huge jump. But, I know we all, especially me, I had to eat crow. I thought that he was awful the year before. Why is he doing things? It seems like they had a great offseason. He came up here to Dallas, talked with the DC, with the Cowboys. And, for me, I think he made a huge stride. He stayed on Colton Vasek, and I think for recruiting wise and for the future, he got us the number 35 defensive end, and we keep on talking. We need pass rush. We need pass rush. And, he didn't let that go. He didn't let that legacy go. And to me, it's one of those things that, he had a better year. His recruiting was great. He has Darian Galutin, the number 45 in the state at defensive end 2, outside linebacker. So for me, he kind of just really wrapped around, got everybody, got the front of the defense, got the back of the defense on the same page. So to me, I thought he made a really good stride, and especially getting Colton Vasek. I'm hoping that is our franchise defensive end.
All righty. For you, Tom G, who you have at number 6? So you guys have done back-to-back PK 7 for Tom G. Pete comes in at 6 for you, El Presidente. So kind of close. I'm kind of curious in the separation here. Tom G. I'm
number 6.
I'm guessing in my head, but let's go listen. Let me see what you say.
Number 6, I have our newest position coach, Chris Jackson.
Ooh.
Let me talk about. So the reason I have him at 6, he's not known as a strong recruiter. Mm-hmm. So I think it's kind of a TBD for what he can do in that sense. However, he has a proven track record, NFL experience. And if you look at just what he's done with the 2 receivers he had in this year, they had career years. So absolutely, Sark wanted someone who was a proven developer, wide receiver talent. He checks all the boxes in that area. NFL experience, can sell the kids on what it takes, checks the boxes in that area. assume he can deal with egos and the prima donnas in the wide receiver room because he has to deal with that in the NFL. But the reason he's number 6 for me is I just don't know what he's going to do on the recruiting trail. And so that's why I have him at number 6.
That is a fascinating thing because now we're going to start getting into our top 5, right? So both of you guys have given your top, your bottom 5, right? And so for Tom G, you've got AJ Midway, Blake Gideon, Jeff Choate, Pete Kwiatkowski, and Chris Jackson. That means you've put in Bo Davis. Obviously, he's going to be in your top 5. Kyle Flood will also be in your top 5. That's there. El Presidente has Jeff Banks, Bo Davis, Blake Gideon, Kyle Flood, Pete Kwiatkowski. So that means for Tom G, that means Banks is going to be in his top 5. Bo Davis will be there, and Kyle Flood will as well. So it's going to be fascinating. You guys are going to be polar opposites, which makes this thing, when we do this poll at the end, really fascinating. So Blake, do me a favor. Let's do a poll right now at the midway point and ask the people who is winning so far. El Presidente has Jeff Banks. So guys, so for you to be able to vote, El Presidente has Jeff Banks at 10, Bo Davis at 9, Blake Gideon at 8, Kyle Flood at 7, Pete Kwiatkowski at 6. Tom G has AJ Midway at 10. You talk about opposites. Blake Gideon at 9, Jeff Choate at 8, Pete K at 7, Chris Jackson at 6. So far, let me know who is winning this debate between them. All right, we're going to go back to El Presidente. You are at number 5 right now.
I'm going to follow Tom G once again, and I'm going to go with Marion Jackson combo. If Marion was still here, he would be a lot higher for me just because of the recruiting haul that he had, but he's not. So I wanted to kind of split it down in the middle for me because if Marion was here, he would have probably been my number 3, not for necessarily the on-field, but the off the field. You get Jonathan Cook, the number 5 state wide receiver, 5-star, number 24 in the nation. You get Ryan Niblett, the number 11th wide receiver in the state of Texas, number 55 in the nation. And then you get DeAndre Moore out of California, the 95th wide receiver out of the nation. Marion hit a home run, for his wide receiver room. And,
So
Jackson, go ahead.
So just as a side note, if you didn't know this, Marion, if you look at the coaches recruiter rankings, Marion was number 1 for 2023 in the Big 12.
Yep. I mean, he had like I said, he would be higher on my list he's not here. If he's not there, but he's not there. So I wanted to be fair, put him in the middle of my list. But what an awesome opportunity. Anwar, people were bitching at you for your article when you wrote about who's our next wide receiver coach. And now, Sark goes and gets his guy, and everybody's like, oh my God, this is great. This, that, and the other, and now he walks into arguably the most talented room on the 40 acres. So for me, it's number 5, just because what the future is in that room. I understand we're kind of looking at, on the field development, off the field development, but for me, it's always the future. What have you done for me lately? And if you're not recruiting, you're not going to be retained at Texas. So for me, that's what I kind of see. What is our next star player?
Okay. Tom G, who do you got at number 5?
Number 5, I have our secondary quarterback coach, Terry Joseph.
Ooh, talk to me.
So let's talk about the recruiting. Solid recruiter. I mean, look what he's done with, Malik Muhammad. He had to play with Arch Manning. He had an influence on Derek Williams. He's bringing in some dudes. But not only that, he is a teacher of the game. And without a doubt, I can see from year 1 to year 2, significant cornerback player development happening in our secondary.
Are you done?
Yeah, I mean that.
Okay.
Oh, that was quick. I thought it was more. I was like, okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
I didn't realize you had to drop the mic moment. Okay, so all right. So we got you down for Tom G. I've got your top 5, 6 at this point. Presidente, let's go through you. Jeff Banks at number 10, Bo Davis at number 9, Blake Gideon at number 8, Kyle Flood at 7, Pete K at 6, Chris Jackson at 5. The good part is we're at the good part of this whole list thing. So now everyone's going to be happy. Who do you have at number 4?
Tashard Choice.
Tashard Choice.
Tashard Choice. I'm sorry. Tashard Choice. Pulled the number 2 running back in the nation. For me. Got us a solid backup coming out of DeSoto. Bijan and Robinson are both going to go in the league. Both are going to get drafted. They were talking about the Dallas Cowboys taking Bijan Robinson today. So for me, again, the recruiting part of this element is what is coming in to the kitchen. And we have the number 2, the number 36 nationally ranked player and the number 2 running back in the nation coming in to play at Texas.
Okay. Tom G.
Wow, I can't believe it, but we actually agree on one.
Wow. It took how many picks for this to happen?
Tashard Choice.
Wow, look at this. Okay, all right, both at 4.
And a lot of the same reasons. Let's talk about the player development. You can see the player development he's had with our current running back room with Bijan and Roschon. I mean, we're talking about he has developed a first-round draft pick in the running back. That's going to happen. And Roschon. I mean, this is fantastic. What happened?
Anwar called me. I don't know how he did that.
Me.
No, you called me.
All right. It's an incoming call.
So, all right. So when you look at what he's done from a player development,
I have a missed call from you.
Super.
No, I've got a missed call from you. You were dialing me.
No,
right,
I
y'all,
wasn't. It says, I want to see if I can cover you. No, I'm going to cover your phone number.
Oh, you can Google it.
It says missed call. You were calling me.
Look at this. Incoming. Well, Amar Richardson.
All right, let's keep going.
Y'all. No, that's impossible. So wait, you and I were both receiving phone calls from each other at the same time?
Yes. That's weird. Go ahead. Impossible. I'm sorry, Tom. I'm sorry.
All right.
No. Mine is blown right now. I don't even know what the hell just happened here.
Yeah.
He was receiving a phone call from me. I was receiving a phone call from him. And we both were looking like, I don't know what the hell just happened. Okay, Tom, go ahead.
Sorry, Tom.
I'm thrown off right now.
That's
crazy.
Randy's right. It's the gremlins.
Yeah.
So on top of that, let's talk about what he's done as a recruiter. I mean, he has brought in some studs. That's for some of the folks out there. I'm not going to use the same word. I mean, Baxter, number 1 running back, arguably the number 1 running back recruit in the nation this year. In line to bring in top 1, top 2, top 3 running back in the nation next year for 23. I mean, or for 24 recruiting cycle. I mean, he is proven to be a stellar recruiter. He's a great developer of talent. He has both NFL and college experience, so he can talk to players about what it takes to get there, and he's had success at both levels. And then as a coach, he has coached multiple All-Americans, whether it's Georgia Tech or Texas. And so super impressed with what Tashard Choice has done.
I'm excited. There is Here's what's fascinating about both of y'all's list as I look at it. One of you, clearly El Presidente is going to have AJ Milwee in his top 3, and Tom G is going to have Jeff Banks in his top 3. This is fascinating to me because Tom had AJ at 10. El Presidente had Jeff Banks at 10, and there's going to switch in order to have them in at least your top 3. I've got to keep this going. This is a super fascinating conversation. Blake, let me know who's winning, by the way, so far, because we're almost at the end. El Presidente. All right. You've gone Jeff Banks, Bo Davis, Blake Gideon, Kyle Flood at 7, Pete K at 6, Chris Jackson at 5, Tashard Choice at 4. At number 3, El Presidente has
Terry Joseph at number 3.
Okay.
I like the way the cornerbacks played this year, especially bringing in Watts from Ohio State. I like how Brooks came on. I mean, that Brooks commitment last year that came down to the wire, and you saw Terry Joseph almost crying at the table when he secured that recruitment. And you know what? We got another shutdown corner. And what does Terry Joseph go out and do again this year? We've got another shutdown corner coming in, and Malik Muhammad, the number 35 player in the nation, coming in at number 14 in the state. So for me, the play on the field, but the future of what Terry Joseph is bringing in weighed very, very heavily. And, you know, if you can't have those shutdown corners, there's no reason for us to go to the SEC. You have to have guys that can play out there on the island. And for 2 years in a row, he's gotten 2 guys that can go on either island. Plus he got Watts, you know, that can play, that is in there now. That gets you know, guys, we are developing the secondary. Hey, DBU starting to look like DBU because we haven't been able to say that a long time around here.
All right. So then for you, Tom G, number 3 is who?
Jeff Banks.
Oh, Jeff finally. Okay, Jeff is getting some love here. El Presidente had him at 10. You have him at number 3. You talk about 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. Give me why you got Jeff Banks at number 3.
So I mean, I think we all agree recruiting is the lifeblood of college football. Jeff Banks is a recruiting rainmaker and top for Texas. If you look nationally in 23, he was ranked 13 in the entire country of every coach in college and recruiting rankings. That is impressive. So he is a rainmaker. If you go look at, he is also the top special teams coach in the country, regarded as one of the top, if not the top. If you go look at during his time at Texas, he's tied nationally with block punts. He's top 5 nationally in the combination of punts and just overall the number of block kicks. He's also nationally, his unit ranks in the top 10 in punt return average. He has repeated success at every single stop he has had. The only knock on Jeff Banks is the 5 years that he spent at A&M until he came to his senses.
Hey, but he did meet his wife there.
Hey, I'm not going there.
He met his wife there. He's a happy man.
We don't talk about the wives or the girlfriends. So we leave those out the conversation. So we've got Jeff Banks at number 3. Okay, El Presidente. Hold on 1 second. Let me tweet this out. I'm tweeting this out. It's gonna be interesting. All right. We are down to our final 2 for each one of you guys. Each one of you guys are down to I am fascinated because I have the list in front of me so I can figure out and navigate it. But I'm fascinated here. It's kind of like the balls when in the NBA when they start doing that balls and you start figuring it out, like they go down. You're like, oh, this person's gonna be who? Okay, El Presidente. You started
My
off
number
with Jeff
two.
Banks. Hold on. You started.
Okay.
I just want to read it for everyone else. Jeff Banks, you had at number 10. You had Bo Davis at number 9. You had Blake Gideon at number 8. Kyle Flood at number 7. Pete K at 6. Chris Jackson at 5. You had Tashard Choice at 4. Terry Joseph at number 3. Number 2 for Eric Torres, Eric Sells Holmes DFW is
Jeff Chalk Day.
Oh, Jeff Choate.
Choke. I'm sorry, Choke.
It's okay.
I think y'all get knocked just from mispronouncing the name.
Yeah, Jeff Choke. Jeff Choke is my number 2. I'm gonna forgive him for playing number 47 year 1, the worst middle linebacker in the history of Texas football. But year 2, putting Jalen Ford in, and Jalen had a great year. But for me, the reason why Jeff Choke is number 2, this is arguably the best linebacking haul in Texas football history. What the work that he has put in off the field is amazing. You don't let Anthony Hill go. You stay on him, and you stay on him, and you stay on him. And we've all talked about we had to have a franchise player on the defensive side of the ball that we haven't had around here in a long time. And we now have that franchise bell whistle guy in the middle that's going to play defense for us. He was number 4 in the state of Texas player. And Catch says it. You got to have those top 10 players. Well, we got the number 4, 10 player. And that for a defensive standpoint, other defensive studs are going to come play with him. And, on top of that, we got the McDonald kid from Waco, the number 20th in the state of Texas, number 97 in the nation. We got the Hawaii's number 2 player coming in, and the Burrell kid from North Crowley. So his haul that he had this year off the field, plus the improvements of Jalen Ford on the field, made him number 2 for me.
Tom G. You went AJ Midway, Blake Gideon, Jeff Choate, Pete K, Chris Jackson, Terry Joseph, Tashard Choice, Jeff Banks. Your number 2 guy is
number 2 for me is Mr. Bo Davis.
Oh, El Presidente's number 9.
Oh my God!
You are middle fingering El Presidente in his picks at this moment. Go for it, Tom G. Late night stuff. What do you got for Bo Davis?
So first
Get
off,
off your cell phones.
Let's recognize this is the second stint at Texas for Bo Davis. He was there with Mac Brown, and you saw what he did with those boys there. But let's talk about what he's done with his second stint, okay? Last year, we're going to talk about recruiting first. Last year, he had a very, very good and solid recruiting year on the defensive line. Now, people like Coburn and Sweat, that was the first year when they were with them. I think they had their eyes elsewhere. This year, Davis got in their ass, and they produced like they hadn't produced since they've been at Texas. And now Sweat's coming back, so he's even going to be that much better. But Bo Davis has turned Coburn into a draft pick, which I'm not sure he would have been if he had gone last year. So Bo Davis has NFL experience, so he knows what it's like. He can talk to the players and what it takes to get there. So you look at what he's done with his recruiting prowess. You look at what he's done with his great history of developing talent. My God, you go look at what he's done when he was at Alabama, the amount of studs that he put into the league, and he's just going to continue that here at Texas. and he's got the NFL experience to wrap a bow on it. He's number 2 for me.
Wow. Okay. Now, all right, El Presidente. No one. I know who's got number 1 on each one of this, and this is going to be the most fascinating ending.
I don't see how he can have number
cannot
10. My Timmy is 1.
Believe this. Oh, El Presidente. I know where you're going. Jeff Banks at 10. Bo Davis at 9. Blake Gideon at 8. Kyle Flood at 7. Pete K at 6. Chris Jackson at 5. Tashard Choice at 4. Terry Joseph at 3. Jeff Choate at 2. Your number 1 assistant on Steve Sarkisian's staff. Go ahead and say it louder for the people in the back. It is.
We live in a world is what have you done for me lately, baby? AJ Milt Dud Milwee is my number 1, baby.
The number 10 guy on Tom G's list ends up at number 1 on El Presidente's list. Let us have it. Tell us what is going on.
This number 3 ranked class in the nation doesn't happen if you don't land the number 1 hombre in the nation. And no matter how you skin it, whether if it was Sark, AJ, he's coming to be in AJ's room. And for me, and that relationship that AJ built with the Mannings and Arch, for me, he is number 1. You don't get Arch, we don't have a number 3 class. So for me, I get it. Ewers hasn't developed the way we liked on the field, but I'm always looking for the future. And he does have the franchise of the future. Is he going to play yet? No. But again, I'm always looking, what is your recruiting doing? What are you doing for the future? Because if you're not going to be recruiting, you're going to get fired at the University of Texas. So for me, he landed the haymaker. He landed the rock star. He landed the guy everybody wanted to play with. And Anwar, I'll ask you this right now.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't land Arch, are we a top 3 class?
No, I mean, I don't think so, because
We're
he's a 5-star. He's a 5-star. So that helps your numbers a lot.
Yeah. And stars want to play with stars, and there is not a bigger star than that Manning last name. So for me, AJ building the relationship, going to New Orleans, building that bridge since his days at Alabama. That is it for me.
Oh, that's Presidente's my man.
To me, it sounds like Eric's trying to sell me oceanfront property in Arizona. That's what it sounds like.
Oh, AJ catching just strays. Like AJ is like chilling. Probably has he's a young guy, so he's probably got a loft over like downtown, like just looking at Lady Bird Lake and stuff, watching this thing. It's like, damn, who's the Tom G guy that is just killing me right now? All right, Tom G, you've got AJ,
for me.
hold on. You've had AJ at 10, Blake Gideon at 9, Jeff Choate at 8, Pete K at 7, Chris Jackson at 6, Terry Joseph at 5. Tashard Joyce at 4, Jeff Banks at 3, Bo Davis at 2, which means your number 1 guy, my best assistant.
My number 1 guy was also the top 5 recruiter in the whole country last year, is none other than Kyle Flood. Kyle Flood is an extremely great recruiter. And he was the like I said, not only number 5 overall in the nation last year, but number 1 in the whole entire Big 12. He has a strong track record of great player development. Look what he did with Banks in the short amount of time he got Banks. Look what he did to Christian Jones when he put him over in right tackle. That is player development. He started 2 freshmen on the line this year. The man can coach. What was the biggest concern we had coming in to this season? Could our offensive line hold up and do any damn thing? Not only did they prove to be adequate, but they were above average in how they performed. You go back and look at Alex's grades. This is one of the best. He said himself, this is one of the best years we've had as a unit in a very, very long, since the Mac Brown days. No doubt about it. Without a doubt, Kyle Flood. Without Kyle Flood, we aren't anywhere. And then you go look at his track record of, I mean, we're talking some multiple first-round draft picks under his watch, and they're going to and we're going to continue to add to that list. Kyle Flood was an easy choice for me as the overall number one.
Okay, so let's go through this. Okay, the poll is up. Stop, El Presidente. Stop. Stop. El Presidente. All right. I'm going to ask you, El Presidente. I'm going to start with you. I'm going to ask Tom G. El Presidente, I'm going to go through Tom G's list. Okay. Do you have it in front of you or no? Did you write it down?
No, I don't. I'll listen to you.
Tell me the one that you had the biggest beef with. Tom G had AJ Milwee at 10, Blake Gideon at 9, Jeff Choate at 8, Pete K at 7, Chris Jackson at 6, Terry Joseph at 5, Tassard Choice at 4, Jeff Banks at 3, Bo Davis at 2, and Kyle Flood at number 1. For you, what's your biggest beef or critique of his list? And Tom J, I'll give you the same opportunity. But when you looked at looked at his list, which one did you feel like, I just will not agree on that one?
You know, I think Tom and I looked at it two different ways. You know, for me, when I did my list today, I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Oh,
analytics with what Catch says. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have. Yeah, I did because I looked at the top players in the state.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's big on that, and you know, and the top national players. So for me, when I did my list from players from top to bottom, I wanted to see who is recruiting strong off the field and who wasn't off the field. And to me, my list is that. I went exactly. We got the number 1 player of the nation, followed by the number 4 player in the state of Texas, followed by the number 20th player. And I ranked my coaching like that because it doesn't matter. If you don't get the players to Texas, it's not going to matter. You're not going to have the horses to be able to play. Might as well be Baylor and recruiting 3 stars. So for me, I wanted to see what they were doing for the future. And that's how I based my list on. I thought he was who was his number 2 again? Jeff Banks. You know, my problem with Jeff Banks now.
3 was Jeff Banks.
3 is Banks.
My problem with Jeff Banks.
Yeah,
my problem with Jeff Banks is right now, Sanders is leaving next year. Who's next?
Okay. Last for you, Tom G. El Presidente's list. 10 was Banks, 9 was Davis.
Oh, I already know who it was.
Go for it.
AJ Milwee, hands down, right?
Yeah, you guys were polar opposite on that.
I mean, we were polar opposites.
Yeah.
2 things about it that troubled me. One, El Presidente took an approach of recruiting only and didn't have player development as a criteria, which I did. But AJ Milwee, let's be real. If Sark is not the coach at Texas and AJ Milwee's still here, Manning ain't here at Texas. He might have helped bridge a little bit, but Sark is what landed Manning. Make no mistake about it. So I'm not giving Milwee a ton of credit for landing Manning. So from a recruiting standpoint, he's just not that impressive. And then you go look at player development. What the hell has he done? I mean, I would say Ewers has regressed during the year, not progressed. And so, so I'm just not impressed from either a recruitment chops or a player development. And I don't see how you can put all your eggs in the AJ Milwee basket and give him the utmost credit for landing Arch. I can't buy that.
Well, you got to remember too, Sark isn't calling Arch every night. He's got 26, 50 other players he's trying to recruit also, but AJ is. And AJ's also talking, as you read those articles from Orange Bloods, he was in constant contact with the head coaching staff at Newman. He was in constant contact with Arch's parents, he behind the scenes, laying the track work. And I know Sark was doing his lifting too, but those position coaches, those guys, you're not going to go play for a position coach that you think's a dick. You're not.
I agree, but okay.
But you're not going to go play for a guy that you dislike or don't trust, regardless if Sark is the man or not. For me, again, it's about who are they going to trust with, that last name, that legacy coming in. Yeah. And a lot of it's Sark, don't get me wrong. But if they didn't think AJ had the skins to be a good quarterback coach, he would not be here either.
So El Presidente, you said you used analytics. So I'm going to use some analytics back with you. 2023 this year, including Arch, AJ Milwee was ranked as the 18th best recruiter in the Big 12. And that's with Arch on his resume. That tells you how far down the list he is as the prowess of recruiting.
He gets to recruit one guy. I mean, most quarterback coaches, Anwar, would you agree? They recruit one guy, maybe two.
I mean, they recruit. They got to get one guy. They
got to get one guy.
They recruit multiple, but it's not like DBs or any of the positions where you're recruiting 50 or more and you need to land 4. You're probably your pool is smaller. You're probably recruiting like 5-ish or so at most. And then you got to just get that at the most, and then, help out somewhere else. So you guys are definitely right. So listen, everyone, this is what we got to do. First of all, Blake, where are we at as far as the vote is concerned? Blake, who's winning between El Presidente and Tom G? Tom G so far has got 77. We got almost nearly 100 votes. Tom G's at 77. El Presidente, you got 23. So
I voted for myself. It's really 22.
Okay, all right. You voted for yourself. That's bull crap.
All right. I forgot to vote for myself. Okay.
But now it's totally BS at this point. All right, listen. In the chat, I want you guys to put down when you see this thing on a Thursday morning or Friday night or whatever it is, Saturday afternoon, whenever you watch this again on replay. Once again, we'll get to the super chat in a second. El Presidente, just to reiterate, he had Jeff Banks at number 10, Bo Davis, Blake Gideon, Kyle Flood, Pete K at 6, Chris Jackson at 5, Tashard Choice at 4, Terry Joseph at 3, Jeff Choate at 2, and AJ Milwee at 1. Tom G had Milwee at 10, Gideon at 9, Choate at 8, Pete K at 7, Chris Jackson at 6, Terry Joseph at 5, Choice at 4, Banks at 3, Bo Davis, and then Kyle Flood at number 1. Go ahead and do 2 things. Give me your top 10 within the chat, and then also tell me who was the winner of this debate tonight, because I'm really excited about that. Justin's got a super chat, and then we will get into some parting thoughts after that, parting shots after that. Justin says, what development? Card looked great when he came into play. Well, that's 2 years into the system. Casey transferred, and Ewers was in his first year. Whoa! All right, wait. So I'm assuming, Tom, that's being directed at you.
Yeah, let me respond. All right.
Okay.
So Did Card look, I'm not going to say great. He looked better than he did last year. I'll give you that. He looked better. But we're talking about the same Card that started the Texas Tech game and we lost. So let's don't go on the high horse of Card and his great development. And then Ewers as a first-year player. We all gushed at how he looked against Alabama the first quarter. He came back. OU looked pretty damn good. And then he went backwards. Every game from then on, he regressed to the point against Baylor. They ran it 21 straight times because they didn't trust him to throw the damn ball.
Calm down. What's your
No. He needs to turn up. I like it. I love it. He don't need to calm down. He needs to stay there. Justin, you asked, you received. All right. This is awesome. I love this. El Presidente, though, go ahead and give me your final thoughts. Give me your parting shot.
Well, guys, as y'all all know, the recruiting is for the future. And if we're not thinking a year ahead, thinking 2 years ahead, then the program's going to die and you might as well go down to Division III football. When I put my list together, 1 to 10 on who were getting the big fishes and who weren't getting the big fishes. As my compadre Tom G sitting there saying, he couldn't answer me because he couldn't tell me who the tight end is going to be in 2 years because he doesn't know either. He's praying to God Deuce Robinson signs with us here in 2 weeks, but that ain't looking good there, Tom. So that's why Mr. Banks, Mr. $1 Million Banks, is number 10 for me because there is no future in that room yet. I'm always looking for the future. I'm always looking for the next best thing. I'm always looking what's going to propel us in the SEC because this is the final year of the Big 12 for us. What's going to be what is the talent we're bringing in for the future? This list, my list from 1 to 10, these are the guys that are doing the heavy lifting. Bo Davis, get off your ass. You got 1 defensive tackle this cycle. Now, hey, Kirby Smart wanted that same defensive tackle and you got him, but you're opening us up for years down the road if we don't start getting 2 or 3. And I know I know they can transfer, I know they can portal, but again, if we're not building for the future, our present is not going to matter. So for me, my list represented the guys that have really established what we're going to do in the future when we're moving into our first year in the SEC and when we're winning in the SEC.
Woo. And by the way, if you need a home, go ahead and contact Eric Sells Home because he is El Presidente and he will get you a home. Tom G, what do you got to say at the end?
Yeah, I'm going to stand by my list, and I'm going to say, look, I said, El Presidente, you and I are boys, so I'm not going to get too hard on you here. But with that said, we've had a number of years in a row and even a national reputation where we have gotten the 5 stars, the blue chips, and the high 4 stars and did not do shit with those personnel because we didn't have coaches that knew how to develop the talent we had on the roster. I do not believe that you can only recruit and not develop and expect to compete and win in the SEC. So I will continue to stand by my evaluations and my list. And for the love of God, how can you have Kyle Flood so low on the list when the man has done nothing but has success at every single stop he has been in, including Texas? And Banks will not only be an All-American, but I'm confident he will be a top 15 pick in the first round when he comes out after his junior year.
Yep, he is top 5 pick. He's great, but you have to have 4 more. And we got 1 coming back that decided not to go to the draft, and we got 3 interior linemen that that are struggling. So It's a big year for that offensive line. It's a big year for that offensive line. And I'm still banging on the thing that we need to go find a grad transfer center, because I think he hasn't found that yet.
All I have to say is, if you haven't hit the like or subscribe button by now, I don't know what the hell you've been doing, because this was as great as I thought it would be. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. You want to know what the Drunk Uncle Show is about? It's about this. One of the only people, the only person that lets people like you get on the show and show your expertise. I don't give a damn about what all these other people try to be and try to act like they are. These people, El Presidente, Tom G, they do their homework. I consider them experts, and I love to hear it. I'd rather hear what they have to say than any of these other pretentious people in this damn market. Give me El Presidente. Give me Tom G for the win. What Drunk Uncle's about. We now have our best assistant coaches. You got to give us who your best assistant coaches are. Put it in the chat. Let us know. We're going to go back and go look at this. Make sure you finish up the vote. We're just about done with that. Hey, Tom G is going to win this, but El Presidente has people who believe in him, so it's not a total loss at all. Can't wait to do this thing again next week. I don't know what the hell we're going to discuss, but it's going to be amazing. Remember what I always say. Live each day like it is going to be your last, because one day it will be, and we shall talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Good night.